So I think it's fair to say that this next talk is the most long-awaited Ignite talk in Newsgeist history. Anita Li was to give this talk in Montreal last May, and because of a lot of travel snafus, that didn't happen. And so here we are now, 16 months later, we're finally going to get to hear Anita talk to us about community-driven journalism and what it ought to be doing at its best, which is encouraging civic engagement. So, Anita, we're ready to hear from you.
Hey, y'all. So I'm going to kick things off with a question. How many people here are familiar with engagement journalism? But raise your hands. Probably everybody. So, well, I'm here to tell you about Engagement 2.0, which is all about supercharging journalism so it actually motivates people to take action on something that's bothering them and a problem that they're facing. So in a nutshell, it's taking audiences from engaging with journalism to engaging with their community, city, province, or state, country, and the world. So before diving in, I want to give you guys a quick refresher of Engagement 1.0. So traditional models in newsrooms, as you know, are top-down, where an often homogenous group of editors decide the news of the day, and there's no consultation with audiences either before or after publication. Whereas community-driven models that prioritize engagement consult with the public for feedback and story ideas throughout the news gathering process. So there's a constant dialogue between the newsroom and their audiences. You guys are quite familiar with this. So at my publication, The Green Line, we wanted to take that one step further. We're a hyper-local, independent, community-driven outlet that focuses on solutions. And we're all about investigating the way we live to help young and other underserved Torontonians survive and thrive in a rapidly changing city. Our tagline is redefining Toronto through the way we live, but Toronto could easily be any town or city around the world. And talk is cheap, which is why we want our audiences to take action on the problems take action on problems in their lives. So just for context, these are my three target audiences. The raccoon is a really special animal to Toronto. So the first is action-oriented young urbanites. Second is underserved Torontonians that are not well served by existing media. And then the third are culture vultures, who are our only non-local audience. And those are folks who are interested in culture, Toronto's culture and arts. So how does the Green Line's model motivate our audiences to pay attention? So this is our attention journey, which is the first half of our model. And at the very top of the funnel, we have accessible, shareable content that hooks the audience right away. So that's comedic pieces. We have an in-house comedian. We have opinion pieces, behind-the-scenes content. And then at the next level, it's service journalism. So that's how-to journalism that helps the audience navigate life in the city. And below that, you'll see original journalism, which is the Green Line's take on a major Toronto story. And at the very bottom is solutions-focused journalism that's in-depth, that addresses a systemic problem facing the city. So it's essentially meant to emulate an internet rabbit hole. And the idea is that the more knowledge that you amass, the more motivated you are to learn more and also take action. And here's an example of how we apply it. So this was part of our coverage of COVID when we first launched last April. So, that slide just went by really quickly, but that was original behind-the-scenes content and then service content. And so this is the core part of our model, which is an action journey. So basically, this is what we take. Ideally, someone goes down the attention journey and has a good amount of knowledge on the subject, then we take them through the action journey in a given month. So in week 1, we publish an explainer that unpacks the systemic problem. Week 2 is the feature that reports on the solutions. Week 3, we have an event that convenes community members and other stakeholders, including the reporter, to unpack or talk through solutions to the problem. And in week 4, we publish an article that crowdsources solutions that were surfaced at that very event. And we reflect those solutions back to community members at large so they can take action on their own terms. So this was our April 2022 action journey on living with COVID in Toronto. And it takes you through part 1, 2, 3, and 4. It was a virtual event, and based on a survey that we conducted, that 50% of the people who attended filled in, we were able to crowdsource those solutions that you saw on the previous slide, and this was the survey. So I want to focus in on events for a second because that's where the magic happens for Engagement 2.0, and I'll get back to the surveys in just a sec. So I'm not convinced that online engagement always leads to offline action, but if you convene like-minded, mission-focused people, great things can happen. So this was one of our events. It was a ticketed event to drive out the vote for our second mayoral election. It was joy-centered. There was a lot of community groups, activations from community groups, and an option to do the survey in paper, digital, or video format. So we were starting to evolve the process. This is our October 2022 action journey, which was all about combating political polarization. We actually paired political opposites to have election-focused conversations, and people came on stage to share their solutions. And then this event was actually this past Saturday. It was in conjunction with an all-night arts event called Nuit Blanche. And we actually transformed our survey into an interactive survey installation. It was effectively an art installation where people kind of walked through the survey to answer questions. And close to 10, actually, I think it was 20,000 people went through the doors and provided a ton of really cool solutions about how to support the arts ecosystem in Toronto. And so I'd really love for you guys to please consider this model as a pathway for turning your journalism from passive to active by connecting it to civic engagement, and feel free to chat with me about it throughout this weekend. Thank you so much.